Because it's so obvious that there's a clear connivance between the steel manufacturers and the DTI. So how do we plan to move forward because of that?
I cannot categorically say that there is connivance. No? Because remember that the new DTI is only 2 years old. I was just shocked when Secretary Lopez told me that from day one that he was secretary until these last few weeks that it has been, being discussed, not anyone from DTI told him anything about it. I'm also even more shocked that in the last 10 years, under many secretaries, I don't really know exactly how many secretaries, undersecretaries, many directors, many USECs, ASECs, the media did not know anything about it. That's totally shocking to me. So I am hoping that with the representation that we have been making to the different government agencies, that something can be done. But, come to think of it, now that you're asking, maybe the only one that can do anything about it is the President. I think President Duterte, with just one sentence, can change everything. He has fired maybe a few secretaries, undersecretaries, I don't know, commissioners, associate commissioners, etc. in just a few sentences. If the President says, yung mga bakal na yan, kailangan imbestigahan itong issue na ito, whatever it is na sagutin niyo yung mga tanong na yan. Well, he just has to give the questions that we are asking. You have a copy of those. If there's a way that you can get the steel bars companies to answer those questions, all of those, in the affirmative, na yes, walang problema yan, ganyan. Lahat yan, magaganda yan, matitiba yan. Diba? But, don't just answer me like that, show me the proof. The public deserves to be informed, as Attorney Tapon says. So, I'm not looking at connivance. I think there's severe, heavy, undescribable pressure. Is that equivalent to connivance? I don't know.
Is there a whitewash in any way, do you think?
Well, I don't know about a whitewash. What do you think? You're our friends in media. How do you wash white or whitewash? Diba? Ibig sabihin, I don't know. I cannot prejudge. I'm only saying, if the manufacturers cannot emboss on the steel bar the grade, their name, and the size, you can't even be proud of your own steel bar. Yung mga pizza nga, kung pwede lang yung logo sa gitna ng pizza, gagawin nila yun. Diba? Tingnan mo, just when they sponsor a tournament or when they sponsor an event, gusto nila isang kakulang na tarpaulin, nakakalat yung mga pangalan ng mga kumpanya na sponsor, diba? Because they're proud of their trademark. They're proud of their brand. So if they cannot even do that, and then keep everybody quiet because they cannot do what they're supposed to do, sandali lang, kayo na mag-decide kasi mahirap sa akin manggaling.
Thank you. Now for the last question, PJ.
Hi, the question is from one of the gigs you gave us, you mentioned that tensile strength lang yung ginagamit lang po in terms of measuring strength. Pero in this kit, it shows that merong kailangan ibang other test na kailangan i-comply ng quench temper, di ba po?
Ano po nakalagay dyan?
Restrictions on the use of quench tempered thermomechanically treated. Po. And it has here the certain qualities or certain tests that steel must comply in order to be used for its structure. But in turn, you mentioned that ginagamit po ng Bureau of Standards is just one, which is tensile strength. In terms of, since nakalagay naman po sa National Structural Code of the Philippines, but hindi po inire-require, at saka bakit yung wala pong sanctions or liability na pag hindi ginamit to, cancel lahat, hindi pwedeng gamitin. Para from the very start, putulin agad, hindi na matutuloy yung project.
Sana kayo na umupo sa TC11. Baka, dito magaling sa inyo yung mga umupo doon, baka magawa natin yan.
Let me answer for Senator Coseteng because that really pertains to the technical aspects, no? Actually, when Senator Coseteng mentioned that this is just a tensile test, the test on the rebar is really the tensile test, but it gives, or rather it gives out the results of the tensile strength of the rebar as well as the yield strength. And from there, you can determine the TSYS ratio. Okay, so it is not really just limited to a tensile test per se. Okay, but now also, when you question about why the structural engineers have not been growing about it, no, not really, because the previous, I cannot speak for the present board of ASEC, but the previous board of ASEC has been conducting an educational campaign for all its members. As a matter of fact, in regional and national fora, we always speak about the dangers of these coincident rebars. And therefore, slowly, our members are knowing this. But the main problem is, they did not know that what they are using is really a substitute to the microalloy rebars. Because when an ordinary engineer without prior knowledge of what the type of manufacturing is, he will just specify the yield strength of the rebar, say grade 16, and be done with it and let it comply with the various tests. Unfortunately, the tests that are being used now would actually allow the coincident rebars to pass the test, no? Because it is not the appropriate test to determine the actual performance. It should be a cyclic test or a weld test that should be done. So, therefore, the engineer who does not have prior knowledge will not be able to really check whether what he was applied with was actually a coincident steel or a microalloy steel.
Thanks, sir. Additional lang, sir. Kasi you mentioned, Ma'am Nikki, you mentioned that there are no testing centers or there's a lack of testing centers here in the Philippines. But hindi natin empower yung, let's say, we have the DOST and the RIC, which is the Metal Institute of the DOST, to be that institute for testing. And yun nga, as part of the development of that institute na rin.
Yes, I think it's a matter of funding and political will. As I said, I grew up in a family that was operating factories, plural factories, not just one. And in every factory, I tell you, every time I go, they're testing something. Your factory has to be equipped with testing equipment to test your own product. If you are a sardine factory, then your tests are related to maybe the tin cans and the quality of your sardine, salinity, or whatever. So, in this particular case, the steel factories themselves cannot produce their tests. So, MIRDC was represented in that hearing, right? And I would let Engineer Morales tell you what they found out in their test. But the fact that we don't have it, is it because the government has no money? I cannot believe that. Is it because the steel manufacturers are a very strong lobby that will not allow government to bring it in? So that if you want to test, you can go to Japan. You're making billions out of these steel bars, okay? Even if you have to send your steel bars to Japan to test it, maybe every first week of January, every first week of June, twice a year. Para naman, pag may maingay na katulad natin, meron kayo ibang, ito kapal ng test namin, it passed 10 cyclic loading tests that we've done in the last 10 years, and here they are. None, they have nothing to show. Right?
Yes, let me add to what the good senator stated. Actually, it's very laughable because what happened was when we were dialoguing with the Philippine Iron and Steel Institute, they did claim that they had tests and that they had commissioned MIRTC. When we were asking for the test results, they could not furnish any. But luckily, I learned that the author of that study was a good friend of mine, Dr. Kudoli, okay, who graciously gave me a copy. And what is very apparent there is, number one, the quench tempered bars cannot be butt welded, and also if you have to weld it, you would have to use a welding electrode that's 7 times stronger. It's 7 times costlier, and I quote that, no? And it's not available in the Philippines. So where does that go now insofar as welding is concerned? Now also, the results that were published in tabular form, majority of the tests have shown that there are failures in the TSYS ratio, which is a measure of ductility or the energy absorption of the building. The requirement is 1.25, but on the average, the test results are over around 1.1 or even lesser. So that's why now I asked the steel industry, the Philippine Iron and Steel Institute, why didn't they make this public? Because it is actually a condemnation of their product. That's why they're holding off from publishing this. When we asked this, in the dialogue, we had the Bureau of Research and Standards of the DPWH present, who is also asking for the test result. Also the ASEP and members of the BPS at that time. No?
All right.
But they cannot give that.
Thank you, sir. More questions?
One question lang po. In the interest of public safety, yung studies, whether reputed or not, meron bang effort to find out or come up with a list of the high-rise buildings and structures that use the QBE?
Yes, thank you for that question. Actually, I just signed a letter addressed to Secretary Anyo of the DILG. I was requesting him to ask the municipalities and cities in Metro Manila, no, for the inventory of buildings 10 stories and above that were constructed in the last 12 years. So I will have to send that to Secretary Anyo maybe tomorrow or Monday, because it's already Friday tomorrow. And it exactly contains your concern. So we will wait for that. And I told him that we need it in the interest of safety, and so that if something goes really wrong, then we know exactly where they are. Diba? Hindi tayo maghahanap, parang we're like rats running around. So that's exactly the letter that I have written to Secretary Anyo.
Will you have an estimate how many that would be?
I have no clue, but if you see Fort Bonifacio alone, I think most, if not all of those buildings were built in the last 12 years.
Okay. Next question.
Ito po ba mga steel bars na to? Ito po yung mga available sa market na pwede magamit dito sa isinusulong na build program where there are bridges, highways na gagawin. And if ito po yung mga gagamitin, magagamit sa mga itatayong mga proyekto under build. What are the dangers? What are the risks?
As far as I know, the locally manufactured steel bars are all quench tempered. I heard that some companies are planning to revert or to produce also the microalloy line again because of this complaint, because of these issues that have come up. No? But that will take time because they have to import the vanadium from Russia, that's the only place you can find it, or niobium from Brazil. That will take time. It will take time to rehabilitate the existing microalloy equipment to produce microalloy that are in the factories still up to now. They were just mothballed. It will take time again to distribute all the steel bars from the factories to all the job sites, to all the hardware stores, etc., etc. That will take time, maybe 2 years, before the first microalloy bar can again be used commercially. No? Now, the other question that you asked was
What are the dangers kung sakali ito?
for the build. We can import steel bars that are macro alloy and specified by the engineers. The engineers will be the ones to specify what is needed for any bridge or MRT or road, etc. Then the local manufacturers claim, in the last dialogue with the DTI, they claim that they can also make it here as long as the manufacturers have, as long as the consumers have the volume, kung marami. You see, they gave a really lame excuse. Sabi nila, tinigil nila yung paggagawa ng microalloy. Why? Kasi the consumers, the developers, the contractors, they don't want to pay the extra. So, I'm thinking, I'll tell you, some of these high-rise condominiums are selling for 100,000 to 350,000, 400,000 pesos per square meter. You mean they're not willing to pay the 3 pesos more per steel bar? And 5 pesos, 10 pesos, even 100 pesos per steel bar to save the lives of the residents? Yeah. That's a lame excuse because the savings is only 10 to 15%. And if the steel bar today is 30 pesos per kilo, 10% is 3 pesos per kilo. Hindi kayo willing magbayad.
Thank you, Madam. And now for
Maybe our engineer has something, something to say.
Well, in reality, the quick tempered rebar problem has been here. The manufacturers have their heads buried in the sand, but it is now up to you, the media, to really raise alarm over the threat to public safety that has been exposing our people for the last 10 or 12 years. No? So we implore you to really get at it, and if you think that my study is wrong or there's something flawed in the study, please let me know and I will apologize publicly. But so far as I stand now, I stand by my study and the research that we have done. Thank you very much.
thank you, sir. For our very last question.
This is quite a different point of view, but you see, there's a trend to destroy or to demolish all the old buildings, especially heritage structures. Now that we're seeing this kind of expose, dapat pala hindi dinemolish yung mga kagaya ng Mandarin Hotel, Intercom. Those buildings should not have been destroyed because those were using the standard steel bars. And even the older structures, the heritage structures that are now being demolished and then replaced with high rises, they should actually even be more preserved and appreciated.
If I may answer that. So far as Ayala is concerned, that is more of a commercial decision. The lease has expired because the buildings there are only under 50-year lease. Beyond that, it reverts to Ayala, and Ayala can either elect to use it or raise it down and build a higher story. I'm sorry?
The older ones are safer.
Well, yes and no. Some of them are actually dilapidated already or deteriorated. No? So that's my answer.
So let's formally wrap up our Q&A.